Hello everyone, hope all is well. I apologize for not posting in quite some time. I have been doing a lot of live in-person conversations and I've been spending quite a bit of time on other people's channels. Busy. In the meantime though, our crazy leadership has decided to put out yet another bill to try to put another huge rope around our necks. Let's talk about Bill C-223 and why we should all be speaking against it. Much like the Charter, it's a nefarious, totalitarian document. That's what it is, and we should speak against this like any other nefarious bill.
You're out of order! You're out of order! The whole trial is out of order! They're out of order!
Let's continue and take a look at what they claim this is for. It's an act to develop a national framework for a guaranteed livable basic income.
Something really wrong is going on here.
I'm going to scroll down here to the summary. And as I do that, I'm going to ask you to consider the following. Consider the source. Consider the last 2 years. Do you really think that these folks that have been putting people out of work, calling people non-essential, trying to force them to be jabbed up to their liking and invade your medical privacy and stop certain folks from traveling and stop you from accessing things like, oh, I don't know, gyms and things of that nature? Do you really think that they care about your health standards and your income standards? I'm going to suggest strongly that they have proven in the last 2 years that their intention is to put us on a leash. And you will note in this document, Bill C-223, what they really want to do is control many things, but I want to focus on the health standards, that they're going to connect your livable basic income with your health standards. Going down here to the preamble, I'm going to take you to the second paragraph. Whereas the provision of a guaranteed livable basic income would go a long way toward eradicating poverty and improving income equality, health conditions. I wonder what they mean by health. Consultation. In developing the framework, the Minister of Justice, must, I repeat, must, consult with the Minister of Health?
Let's make a deal! Let's make a deal!
Your version of health or my version of health standards? This is very interesting to me because I don't mind telling you right now, I don't meet the health standards to be able to travel according to them right now.
Something really wrong is going on here.
The ministers responsible for employment, social development, and disability, representatives of the provincial governments responsible for health. Wait a minute. When did my provincial government become responsible for my health? When did Dougie, for example, here in Ontario, become my health practitioner? That's not your job, government. You are supposed to maintain my civil liberties. You're supposed to uphold those and my fundamental freedoms. That's priority number 1. And number 2, I would suggest, for me to be healthy, I need to be able to do what? Provide for myself and my family. So you should economically make sure there's opportunities for me. Why are you sticking your nose here? Good question, but I think some of us already know the answer.
The vaccine.
Content. The framework must include measures to determine what constitutes a livable basic income for each region in Canada, taking into account the goods and services that are necessary to ensure that individuals can lead a dignified and healthy life. Really? You call me non-essential and several other people non-essential. You put them on quote-unquote a leave without pay, which isn't even legal, And then you call that dignified. And then on top of it, when they go to collect their EI that they've paid into, you say they're not allowed to. And then on top of that, you tell people they can't travel if they're not jabbed up to your liking. And then you want to call that dignified? It's anything but dignified. I don't think you care about my health at all. I think you care about putting me on a leash. Let's continue. 3B, to create national standards for health. And what might that be? What would be the national standards for health? Do I have to be underweight, overweight, 200 pounds, 150 pounds? Depends how tall I am. Do I have to make sure that I eat specific kinds of vegetables every single day? Do I got to make sure I take my vitamins? What's a national standard for health? That I'm not allowed to eat Doritos anymore? Or I should eat Doritos? Because I got to tell you, lots of people that basically eat Doritos, lots of folks that are drinking Slurpees on a pretty regular basis, those folks have hit the national standard for health because they can travel anywhere they want. And yet folks, I don't know, like myself, for example, I can't. I don't meet the standard for health. What standards might you be talking about here? Are you talking about my stabby jabby status? Because I think you are. Let's continue. To create national standards for health and social supports that complement a guaranteed basic income program. What do you mean? What would my health standard need to be in order to complement my guaranteed basic income? What would that be?
Something really wrong is going on here.
And by the way, just to finish this out, and guide the implementation of such a program in every province. Notice they're doing this through provincial mandates. It's a national standard that they want to put in every province. Well, that's funny. My Canadian Bill of Rights is a federal and or national statute, and you seem to be ignoring it for 2 years now. Let's continue. To ensure that participation in education, training, or the labor market is not required. I repeat, it is not required in order to qualify for a guaranteed livable basic income. You know what this basically says? You can be as uneducated as you want. You can be dumb as a rock. And you can have absolutely no work ethic or intention of ever becoming an employee anywhere. Don't worry about education and don't worry about work ethic. None of that's required. All we want to make sure you do is meet our national standard for health. Then you can be as dumb as you want and as lazy as you want. Just make sure you get
The vaccine.
We are the vaccine. Get your shot right now. In your arm, it won't hurt. Then go hug your mom.
a guaranteed livable basic income. I really want you to think about who is in charge of framing this. It's the very people who have harmed the economy, who have harmed your ability to work, who have taken away your civil liberties. They've taken away your opportunities to work. And if not you specifically, someone you know. For those very same people to do what they've done for the last 2 years, to come and show up with something of this nature, you have to know that this is indeed a carrot on a stick, and it's set up to trap you. We need to be self-sufficient. Let's keep our leadership in check. Their job is not to be our doctors or our health practitioners. Their job is to uphold our civil liberties and our fundamental freedoms. That's their job. Their job is not to guarantee me a livable basic income based on putting me out of work and then sending me a check every month or a direct deposit every single month, while the entire time calling it dignified.
You're supposed to stand for something. You're supposed to protect people.
We want to use our skills and the gifts that God has given us, and we should, and that is dignified. not sitting back and staying on a leash that our leadership wants to put us on, and then they tell us what we can do, when we can eat, where we can go, and how we can get there. And then, of course, inoculate us to their liking. That is not dignifying. That is enslavement. I urge you to speak against Bill C223, to speak against the Charter, and to tell everyone that we live in a common law country and the Canadian Bill of Rights codified our civil liberties, and we need to educate everyone in these departments. In the meantime, guys, thank you for listening. I hope this has been edifying for you. Grace and peace.